field. Javier,
baseball is a great game. It's a game of skill, of history, and tradition. It's a beautiful game. But unfortunately, there is one thing that has become associated with baseball that isn't so beautiful. In fact, it's ugly. It's spit tobacco. All of you know what spit tobacco, also known as chew, dip, or snuff, is. It's many things. It's bad for you. It's potentially deadly. It's an addiction that can lead to cancer and not some magical ticket to the major leagues. It has nothing to do with baseball or being a better baseball player.
real live people.
I've been around baseball for a lot of years, and for quite a while now, I've been talking to the major league players, trying to let them know that spit tobacco is a dangerous choice. Thankfully, many of them are listening.
And these are the
Now I want to talk to you, but I don't want to talk about big league ball players or some old guy who got cancer after chewing for 40 years. I want to talk to you about a young man, not much older than you. During my career as a broadcaster, I've been around some tough stories, but this is one of the toughest stories I've ever had to tell. It's the story of Bob Leslie, a baseball coach. It's a story about his dreams being cut short, possibly his life being cut short. It's a story about his wife, Amy, who may lose her husband, and a beautiful baby girl, Nicole, who may lose her dad to cancer.
My dream was to be a professional baseball player, as a lot of young kids is. When I associated baseball back then, I associated it with that can in the back of the pocket. And I always wanted to know what that can was. What did that represent, that can? Was that the difference between me getting there? So by seeing that and seeing how successful these guys were in the limelight, living on a ranch and seeing most of the guys at the ranch hands chewing, everywhere I looked, what I thought was a real strong man and what I saw was a real positive role model on the baseball field was that can.
We first met in high school when he was a junior.
Was Bob dipping then?
Yes. Yep. When we first started dating, yeah, all through high school. I remember he and the other guys that played baseball, and actually the football players too, hanging out in the quad at school, and they'd chew at school. But it was 5 months after he gave it up that he found out he had cancer.
I was diagnosed in 1995.
And how old were you then?
27. And after several lesions were taken that we discussed, finally someone did the correct test at Stanford, and they did a dye test. And they figured out that there was something wrong.
A cancerous tumor had developed inside Bob's lip in the exact same spot where he had held his spit tobacco since he was 13 years old. While researchers are still investigating spit tobacco and the various forms of oral cancer that it causes, it would be difficult to convince Bob that something else caused his cancer.
I can still remember being wheeled in that day. It's the scariest moment in the world, knowing they're going to take, part of your face off. It's kind of dishumbling.
Radical surgery was necessary to remove the tumor. The operation took 14 hours. Bob lost his chin, his bottom teeth, and bottom gums. Unfortunately, the surgery was not in time to stop the cancer. A second diagnosis in December of 1996 revealed that the cancer was spreading.
Well, what happened was the cancer grew up a nerve, and it ended up landing up at the base of my skull towards my brain. And in the meantime, it's also, grown outwardly in different ways. And, when I heard that it was in my brain, I just said, my wife's 5 months pregnant. I called all my family members and I called all my friends and I said, I just want you to take care of my wife and kids.
Definitely the hardest part is seeing him in pain. The devastation doesn't really happen all at once. It kind of happens over time as the reality really sinks in that, oh my gosh, because at first I don't think I really believed it. I thought, what do you mean you have cancer? You can't have cancer, you're 27 years old, you're healthy, you quit chewing. With the second diagnosis, that made it more real than it had ever been before, and with the recurrence, and that's when it really brought me to my knees, because I was 5 months pregnant at the time.
Obviously, I'd like to see her grow old and see her get married and do all the nice things, and I don't know if that's going to happen. I fight that every day, the emotion of that. But I've had 6 months with her that have been great.
Bob's ordeal has devastated his family. But now Bob and Amy are speaking out against spit tobacco in an effort to prevent what happened to him from happening to anyone else.
Love them into quitting. Any addiction is a crutch, and you can't bash somebody into quitting. And you need to, I think that, you know, if you have someone that you care about, then get them as much information as you possibly can and tell them over and over again, hey, I know it's hard, I love you and I support you, all of who you are, I want you to live, and this is what can happen to you. And don't give up.
That message has certainly hit home with Bob's players.
I just remember when he got the cancer and he was telling everybody about it, you know, how it's getting bigger and how the chemotherapy is, you know, might not be working. People who tune out, they'll say, oh, it'll never happen to me. You know, they think it won't happen. But I'm sure Coach Leslie didn't think it would happen either, and it did.
I didn't realize how dangerous it was.
You didn't realize what was dangerous, both smoking
No,
and
I
tobacco?
knew smoking was dangerous because, you know, it's publicized. I did not realize how dangerous chewing tobacco was. And I don't know if kids are fully, I think if kids are fully educated, they often do make the right choice.
I think the first key is you catch them at a young age, because once you do start, I think that's the end for a lot of kids.
I'd introduce him to Coach Leslie, and just let him see firsthand what this stuff will do to you. You know, it may look cool on a baseball field, but if you really take, that's just the surface. If you take another look at it, you know, it's not.
I see a guy almost every day that has half of his jaw missing because of it, and I just look at people and go, yeah, it's insane, it's crazy what you're doing. And they don't think it'll happen to them when someday it could, and it might. You know?
I mean, he got cancer from chewing, you know, and who knows how long he's got. And Coach Leslie is strong, but cancer is a lot stronger.
The thing that really irks me the most is that at 13, Earl Campbell and all these great athletes and Walt Garrison and all these people that would see on TV on these commercials had to chew and sell it to you, and there you are, and be like them. Where are they now? And where's the tobacco company now? When I'm fighting for my life or when I needed help, they weren't there. But they took my $1.69.
What's the toughest part of the day for you, Bob?
There's two. I think there's two. When I first wake up, I realize I still have it, because I look in the mirror, take a shower. It's still there. It still hurts. I still have the scarrings of it and the physical scarrings of it. And when I go to bed, I lay down next to her, and I just I don't know how many times that's going to be possible.
Coach Bob Leslie is facing some pretty difficult odds, which he believes are the result of the choice he made when he was only 13 years old. You may face the same choice someday, if you haven't faced it already. Some of you might think that spit tobacco is some kind of a baseball tradition, but it causes cancer, and cancer is not a tradition. Your coaches are providing you with this program because they care about you, and they want you to have the information you need to make the right choice about spit tobacco. You may never play ball for Coach Bob Leslie, but his story may be one of the most important lessons you'll ever learn.